Randall. 26th, okay. Motion, please.
I'll make a motion to adopt the minutes from the March 26th meeting.
Is there a second? Second, Corstillo. Or Harrison?
Yeah, I just saw one typographical error, resend. It should be resend. If we can amend that, yeah, thank you. Everything else looks good to me.
We have number 4 here.
No.
So that means we need,
So it would be, based on it was Dean's turn, Jeff is not here, and then it would be Peter's turn, or just either way for Ford. There's Randall Ford on here, so it'd be Janine and
it's Commissioner Bukowski. Yep. Any comments or questions from the commission?
Sir? Resend, is that the one that's on the Berkeley minutes
Yeah,
item?
like that, Kathy.
oh, I got it.
Let's put this to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye or raise your hands. 7 hands, passes unanimously. On to 277-301 Berkeley Road, proposed settlement of litigation between the Town Plan and Zoning Commission and Berkeley Road LLC, whereby the Town Plan and Zoning Commission would consider stipulating to approve the zoning compliance application for a 40-unit residential development pursuant to Section 830G of the Connecticut General Statutes. Such settlement is subject to court approval. Commission will offer opportunity for public comment on this proposed settlement, continued from our last meeting on March 26th. So we are in public comment portion. We'll continue with that. The one thing I'd just like to add is, based on listening and remind from the last meeting, the appellate, this is a discussion about whether the Plan and Zoning Commission will entertain settlement discussions or entertain settlement agreements with the pending litigation. The pending litigation, that record, that case is not going to be addressed through this presentation or this public hearing. So anything presented here will only deal with the settlement considerations. Certainly has no effect on the merits of the appeal that's pending. So should you have, obviously, the public will continue to comment. If you have anything to submit, so be it, but just know that does not affect the merits of the appeal, only our consideration of any settlements. So, said that. First come, first serve, unless
Point of order. So my question, is but the motion is to rescind though, is that right?
the motion on table, as we discussed last time, was as the outlined in the agenda. Yes, that's the motion. But as of right now, we're in public comment. Yeah, just right now, first come, first serve, unless we really need to get an order going. You can give your name, address, and comments to the settlement, please. But
My name is Debbie Popola, and I live at 425 Berkeley Road. I had written a speech for tonight, but I went to the zoning website and I read what all my neighbors had said in the committee's reports. And a lot of what I was going to say has been said numerous times, so I'm not going to belabor those points. You all know that it is not safe for the additional density that this building presents. However, I do want to stress the danger that the hill presents when there are cars parked on both sides. I have lived at Berkeley Road for 45 years, and I have lived in the neighborhood my entire life. I have walked or drove on Berkeley Road over 16,000 times in my lifetime, and I am well acquainted with that hill. and I avoid driving up or down it unless it is night, when I can see the lights from the cars coming at me. I truly hope no one gets hurt as a result of walking or driving on that hill, but with the increased traffic, that may not be able to be avoided. The building will most likely bring an additional 40 to 60 cars to the road twice a day. Perhaps an updated study should be required. I would just like to address one other thing. From what I can tell from the building drawings, and please correct me if I'm wrong, there seems to be a lack of secondary access to the property for emergency vehicles. If that is the case, should a life-threatening emergency occur on the site, does the driveway have the capacity to accommodate residents exiting the site either by foot or in their vehicles without delaying or potentially impeding vital emergency access? I think that is something that needs to be considered. And lastly, just because you can, doesn't make it right. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Hey.
Patrick Stevener, 148 Berkeley Road. I actually live on the same hill, and I have been in a traffic accident there. It is on record through Geico, and it is a dangerous hill. It is a choke point with cars on both sides, which will only become more perilous with this project. But as an aside, so dear members of the Fairfield Zoning Commission, it is with great concern for the safety and well-being of the residents of Berkeley Road that we address you today. Over the past 2 years, numerous commission members have expressed on the record their belief in the inherent dangers posed by the proposed project, as well as their sincere empathy for the affected residents. As stewards of the town's welfare, your mandate is clear. Prioritize the health and safety of Fairfield's residents above all. The significance of this responsibility cannot be overstated, especially given that Section 80-3G grants towns the authority to reject projects on the grounds of health and safety, overriding any other considerations. We acknowledge and share your genuine concern for the residents of Berkeley Road, and we stand united in our commitment to address the pressing issues at hand. The evidence presented by expert testimony leaves no room for doubt that this project poses significant risk to both vehicular and pedestrian traffic on Berkeley Road. Key points witnessed by the Commission: inaccurate line of sight calculation, inadequate traffic flow study. Traffic study was conducted during COVID-19, the pandemic, and is inherently flawed and unreliable. It's evident that any logical observer that basing traffic assessments on pandemic era data leads to erroneous conclusions. Despite the Commission's recognition of the study's unreliability, and we request a new study, this request was unjustly denied, leaving the Commission unable to rely on flawed data. The Commission's arguments for rescinding and approving predatory developer concerns. Contrary to popular belief, denying projects that pose clear safety hazards do not attract predatory developers. Rather, it sends a clear message that Fairfield Zoning Commission prioritizes safety and well-being of its residents over all else. Reliance on flawed study. Relying solely on unreliable traffic study is fundamentally flawed and contradicts the Commission's duty to make decisions based on accurate and credible data. Perceived impossibility of winning the case. Multiple reputable land use attorneys have affirmed that the evidence presented in record supports the town's position in potential litigation. Furthermore, the town attorney has explicitly advised against conceding the case, emphasizing the viability of the town's defense. I read Attorney Baldwin's brief. I agree with it. It seems very, he brings strong points to that. And the affordable housing goals. While increasing affordable housing is commendable objective, it cannot come at the expense of compromising the safety of Fairfield's residents. Prioritizing affordable housing over safety undermines the Commission's core responsibility. I have more, but I will I'm sure there'll be plenty of other comments. So thank you for listening and taking note.
Point of order, are we getting, are these documents being submitted to us?
I can, yes.
Hi, good evening. My name is Julia Smith and I live at 50 Berkeley Road. I think I'm just going to jump right in one comment that my neighbor just made. It's about accepting a traffic study from the pandemic. So if you think about this for a moment, it was a time when we as a country were facing a once in a lifetime global trauma, and we're discouraged from going out the door. The message was stay home from school, from work, from stores, from gatherings, from holidays, from friends, from everything. So while we were all being good, responsible citizens and protecting our community, little did we know that it would be held against us someday, that our participation in a civic duty of staying home would be used as evidence that traffic is not a problem on Berkeley Road, and that our commissioners who represent the government that was telling us to stay home, elected to protect us, would accept this fabrication of reality. I'm telling you, that feels like a betrayal. I stay home and my traffic patterns, my employer, Fairfield University, said stay home. And that's what I did. I go out anyway. I don't have to go on that. And if I see I'm very upset about this, but the only reality that traffic study represents is the predatory nature of this builder, that he would want to take advantage of the pandemic to endanger us and the people he will be profiting from. That is unconscionable. We can do better than that, and it starts with a traffic study in 2024 before our kids are out for the summer. Recently, I made a Facebook post about this issue. I have one comment that I want to highlight from someone who just happened to be a traveler on our street. And I quote, "If I hadn't reacted quickly by slamming on my brakes, I would have been hit by a car backing out of a driveway. They couldn't see me as there were so many tall vehicles parked on the street near their driveway, basically backing out with their eyes closed. I am not familiar with that area, so thankfully I was driving slowly. I would have been hit if I wasn't crawling." Backing out with their eyes closed due to the obstruction of the vehicles. I love that line. That will be the residents of this new project too, all 60 to 80 of them, driving up a steep incline, cars and trucks blocking their views, cars parked directly across, because right now there's a 3-family being built directly across, so there'll be more cars on the street. A one-way road masquerading as a 2-way road, so cars waiting, maybe bike riders and pedestrians, kids playing, if anybody lets them out of their house again with what's going on. I don't honestly even see how Berkeley Road will be functional. The commissioners talked about wanting to save Fairfield from predatory builders. We are asking this commission to remember that we are also their constituents to be protected. We don't have a lot of money on that street, and we don't have a lawyer, which makes us an easy target for all involved. But we deserve a safe street. Many of you ran on safety. I'm asking you to keep your promises. We deserve to have our safety, our children's safety, backed up by reality, not by the lies of these safety studies. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Anything you want to submit, speech afterwards, please do to Theo, to your left, to my right. Evening.
Good evening, and I want to thank each and every one of you for what you do. I'm Jay Walk. I'm Representative Walk from District 5 on the RTM, as well as a constable at the probate court. So it surprised me because I'm hearing from our constituents that there was a study done for this project. First of all, I want to ditto what everybody's been saying about safety on that street, especially the hill. It's ridiculous to add more cars to the hill. Anyway, going back to the study, now I'm finding out the study was done, I'm asking you, the study was done from the builder, from the project builder? Is that where the study was done on the safety on the street? Because why I'm asking is, Chief Calamaris and I spoke, and I asked him to do a police study on the street when I found out they never did. He cannot do one now. They won't do a study till after you guys decide what's going to happen with this project, because it's in court right now. You guys are in appeal. So my question is, was the police department ever notified to do a study, or was it before, we voted on, a month ago on this project to do a study? Because the builder did it. I guess the builder did the study, and people are saying it's flawed. The police department didn't do it. So he said he would do one when that's decided. So that's where I'm a little torn on why there wasn't a police study done for this project. I've driven on that road for many years working at SCAP. I talked about this. I don't want to say it again the last time I spoke to you guys, on this topic. It's add more cars. My God, there's sometimes you got to pull over, especially on the hill when you're coming down at night. I blink my lights just to make sure somebody can see me coming. But I think the project needs to be looked at again, and maybe not done there. Maybe push it. I'm for affordable housing. I'm not against it. So, but not there. I'm done. Thanks for listening to me.
Thank you.
May I ask him a question?
Sure.
The only thing I have from Chief Calamaris is an email from May 8th, 23. It's not a study, it's a comment. And it doesn't really indicate what he looked at or whether he considered cars parked, or actually, apparently no study was done. And I don't think the police routinely do studies, and we don't ask them to do studies. We could, I suppose. Anyone could,
Right.
But I don't believe it was done. But my question for you is, so he said we could do a study. What would you mean, like an accident study?
No, just a safety study to actually see and put police officers on that road to see
speed
traffic, and to
They would do the same thing, the traffic?
the same thing, whatever they and then we'll have their opinion, besides just one opinion. So, but he
So
said
they would check the speed and the volume of vehicles.
and volume of cars that are sitting at certain periods of times in road, not just, but and Captain Irizarry also got in touch with me also, who does traffic, and he said he'd be happy to do it, but you guys, it's in court right now, correct? So it's.
Is Captain Irizarry the traffic safety?
Yes.
Is he the one doing safe streets or complete streets? Or?
Yes.
And also, yeah, I re-looked at the study. The whole traffic report is dated November of 23, but the data they collected from those wire things they put on the ground was from November of 21. Yeah. No, the traffic study was November of 22, because we have the application in 23, but the actual data was collected around Thanksgiving of November 21. So that was weird anyway. That's
weird.
Yeah, so,
Yeah,
okay.
imagine.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for listening.
I have a question for Mr. Walk. Good to see you. We serve on the RTM together.
Yes, thank you.
Sweet for your service. And were you a proponent of the complete streets policy?
I was for it.
Okay, yeah, okay. So you
I
were.
was also in the noise ordinance, so
That-
a sponsor for that.
All right, guys, we're here on Berkeley Road.
Yes.
So,
Well, we're talking about safety. That's a concern that we have, that they have.
I know, we're on Berkeley Road, so
Yeah, this is a question related to Berkeley.
get to it, please.
Trying to. Do you think with Berkeley Road and the complete streets ordinance, do you think the complete streets ordinance or law and regulation now, would that be compromised? Would that even be possible at this point, just given?
I don't think they even know yet, on that street, it's, it's a plan for the town. It's not just for, you're saying Berkeley Road.
Right, it's
I
for
mean,
the-
they would,
right.
they'd have to do a study and the DPW again. It's a whole project. I mean, it's not, Safety Streets is for the town to see
It's
where
for
we're
all
gonna
the
put
citizens.
sidewalks and where we're gonna, make corner safety safer for us. Walkers to make it safer. But, I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, we'd have to into that as far as putting sidewalks on Berkeley Road would be great, but then you're taking property. Now you take a piece. And some of these houses you can't take. It's not list of houses on Berkeley Road, right? Some of them are not.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Rock.
You're welcome.
Supposed to speak.
Next, back there. Go ahead, sir. You're up. No, first come.
Up to me.
My name is John Petrola from 181 Berkeley Road. I would first like to say to the commissioners that I have no animus towards any individuals on the commission. I sincerely, quite the contrary, respect that you give up your own personal time to serve and help the community. I recognize the time that you have committed to this application. And I hope that you also realize the time, effort, energy, and sleepless nights that we as neighbors have committed as well. So we're not adversaries in this. We're partners in this endeavor. However, the commission as a body has made significant errors along the way that will have grave consequences on the safety of our neighborhood in its current motion to rescind, if this current motion to rescind is approved. Before I address those errors, I want to speak to the debate that took place at the meeting 2 weeks ago regarding the public notice of that meeting. I would address to this commission and to Mr. Wen, who I believe is responsible for its publication, that the public's notice was at the very least misleading and, in my view, incorrect. Please, before you dismiss this as semantics, because it's not, please hear me out, because there's meaningful improvement that should be made. Sorry, it's so small, but conventional documentation practices, the indentation of sub-tier subjects under a primary subject heading, this is the following way that agenda was portrayed. It lists the primary subject A as call to order. It lists the next primary subject B as executive session. It then indents a sub-tier subject under executive session as bills and communications. It then indents further a sub-tier item, lowercase a and b, with lowercase b being 277-301 Berkeley Road, all while still under the primary subject of executive session. Why am I taking your time with this and why is it important? First, it identifies an area of improvement that can be taken for all future public notices by correcting the format and titling that causes confusion and debate. I'll defer to Mr. Wendt for action on that. Second, I can say with full candor that I actually believed that the commission was inviting us into an executive session as partners to discuss possible settlements without the presence of the applicant. My understanding was that the commission could call into executive session consultants on any matter. We, the neighbors, can certainly qualify as consultants in this regard. I had even expressed my interpretation as an optimistic possibility to a neighbor before the meeting. So you may choose to dismiss me, call me naive, misguided, but what we walked into in that meeting 2 weeks ago was totally different from what I had come to expect from this commission. What we walked into was first a confirmation by the chair that the applicant's attorney to ensure that he could hear us remotely on WebEx. And then what appeared to be a pre-orchestrated rush to motion to rescind the original denial of the application. Fortunately, the intervening point of order by Commissioner Harrison reminded the body of the fairness of the process that is due the public. Thank you, Commissioner Harrison. Unfortunately, what followed was a series of long proclamations by several commissioners projecting what the outcome of a pending court case would be. All of this was done in front of the plaintiff's attorney. These acts of proclamation were not only unconscionable, they were reckless and likely illegal. As mentioned previously, the Commission as a body has made significant errors along the way that will have grave consequences on the safety of our neighborhood if the current motion to rescind is approved. It's important to note that the consequences of those errors were muted by the original and correct decision by this Commission to deny the application. It is the current motion to rescind that mandates that these errors be revisited and the facts be reemphasized. It has been the practice of this Commission on all applications to require that an applicant who has submitted incomplete or questionable material with their application be required to resubmit to the Commission updated or corrected materials before granting an approval. In this Berkeley Road application, the traffic volume study performed during the COVID pandemic is blatantly defective. Yet, the Commission, in error, made no demand on the applicant to submit updated information. This deficiency of the traffic volume study is noted many times in the public record in both written submissions and videotape meetings that are available as evidence to the court. The traffic volume study deficiency is also noted in the application denial summation and is absolutely defensible in the appeals court case. Why is this important? Because the volume of traffic or number of cars crossing past the proposed dangerous exit driveway matters in the real world. The number of cars passing this driveway point during COVID and that traffic study was minimized with the shutdown of businesses and schools. With the post-pandemic number of actual cars passing that exit driveway, the number of intersecting vehicles increases and the danger increases exponentially. The original denial summation correctly noted the deficiency of that application. A vote tonight to rescind repeats your previous error and sends the message that this Commission accepts inaccurate data to the pleasure of the applicant and at the demise of their constituents. I urge you to vote no to the rescind motion and let the court of law see all of the information in the record and deny the appeal. Similarly, the Commission erred last spring during a videotaped public hearing when the topic of alternate proposals for building size and project scope was requested by the Commission chair. The chair asked the applicant's attorney if he could reduce the number of apartments from the proposed 40 units. The applicant's attorney replied that he did not think it would be financially feasible. The chair asked the applicant, could you provide documented evidence to support that position of financial unfeasibility? The applicant's attorney replied that he would provide that evidence. That documented evidence to support that position or any other alternatives has not been presented to the public record for scrutiny. The Commission failed to make follow-up demands on the applicant for this financial study or any other alternate proposals. A vote tonight to rescind repeats your error and sends a message that the Commission allows an applicant to ignore the Commission's requests to the pleasure of the applicant and to the demise of your constituents. In another key safety area, the Commission erred in not fully resolving the conflicting line of sight studies. The line of sight study that was submitted by the applicant was challenged for not incorporating the known occurrence of parked cars on Berkeley Road. The second line of sight study, commissioned by a Berkeley Road resident, confirmed that the line of sight failed when the real world conditions of parked cars was included. Subsequently, town engineering manager qualified in his review of the applicant's study, and I quote, "I would recommend additional safety measures such as no parking along the frontage of the site and confirming low slope platform less than 3%, the first 20 feet of access to ensure actual field site distance is met," end quote. This line of sight failure is noted many times in the public record in both written submissions to the commission and Mr. Wendt, as well as videotape meetings or their transcripts that are available as evidence in court. The line of sight deficiency is also noted in the application denial summation and is absolutely defensible in an appeals court case. I urge you to vote no to the motion to rescind and let the court of law see all of the information in the record and deny the appeal. To those commissioners that are new to the commission and were not present at the original public hearings and the original vote of denial, if you have not fully viewed all of the videotapes and read all of the emails written, viewed all of the photos submitted to the commission, I urge you to recuse, abstain, or vote no to the motion to rescind. Do otherwise makes you complicit in the errors of the commission as noted above. To those commissioners who have stated, "We have spent a lot of money on this case," I remind you that that cannot be a reason for rescission. Monies for legal defense are a line item in the town budget. It is approved by the Board of Selectmen, Board of Finance, and RTM. It is outside the scope of this TPZ commission to decide on allocations of those funds, especially when the safety of the town's citizens is at stake. The commissioners have stated their obligation to follow the law. That is noble, expected, and understood. However, what you have decided to do instead with this motion to rescind is to interrupt the actual due process of law. We are the neighbors of Berkeley Road are the ones in jeopardy. We, the neighbors of Berkeley Road, deserve our day in court. Instead, you are choosing to interject yourselves and block our rights to have all of the facts reviewed and decided by a judge. Do you really believe that you are better versed in the matters of law land use than a judge? We, the neighbors of Berkeley Road, are law-abiding citizens. We will accept whatever the ruling of the court is. We are confident in the facts of our case and expect you to be law-abiding as well. If the judge rules against us, then the blood of the children that get hurt by this project is on his hands. If you interject yourselves in this process, then the blood of those children is on your hands. You were voted into office to be commissioners, not judges. I urge you to vote no on this motion to rescind. In closing, I will remind you that even beyond the law, there is a greater power and a greater obligation. That is an obligation to morality and the care of your fellow man. You know in your hearts that this project is wrong. You've said it. People are going to get hurt if this project proceeds. Before you cast your vote, I ask you, fully examine your heart. Fully examine your conscience. If it were your son or daughter or your elderly mother or father in harm's way as a result of a vote to rescind, how then would you cast your vote? With that, I'm going to submit a signed copy of this statement to the commission for inclusion in the record. And I invite the town's attorneys to use it in full or in part for presentation in court, however they see fit. Thank you.
Thank you. In the back.
My name is Jim Salcy. I live at 300 Berkeley Road. And a lot of this stuff I gave part of it when we've had the original hearings, but I want to remind you about some of it. And thing about the hill, I don't use that damn hill because it has a blind spot. And I have some pictures of it, but they don't do the hill justice, so to speak. It's a sharper angle than I can show on a camera picture. It's hard to explain, but
If you submitted those photos already, we have them, like,
no, not all of them. No. The hill, they put a new sign up, it seems, on the hill. It's like a brand new sign. It's bigger. Got it here. It's what it is. Well, these are new. But this isn't the hill. This is in front of my house. In front of my house is a bottleneck of the road itself. You mentioned that. Seems like it goes in one area, not the other. It's like a two foot better difference in the width of the road. But, between my house and the house next door, which is 292. And it's a sudden jog. Didn't have time to do this, put it in order the way I want. Sorry to say. This would be part of this is the narrowest part of the road. I'll show you these pictures here. Basically,
are they all the same picture?
no. We were working on the road end of last week with a considerable dump truck and a loader doing a repair in the road.
Is this by the subject, is this by the property?
Yes, yeah, it's this is minus 300. Well, it's the opposite side of the property.
Got it.
So the property is on the right side of this picture, one of the duplexes?
Yeah.
Okay. This is the one that has construction vehicles.
Yeah, there's a new line, a water line and a gas line they put in for the remodeling of the house on 292, and I think 86. It's the same property, the houses around. But you see, with the machine there and the big truck, you got room for one more car and maybe a little more. 4 cars will never pass there unless they're touching each other. You know what I mean? You can get one more car here and a little more. But the cars aren't going to be scraping each other to go by if you put 4 there. That's my.
So you're saying a car parked on both sides will not allow 2 more in between to travel?
Actually, a truck and a trailer or some full-size car, much more difficult. And every time I watch cars go by and it's both directions, one of them always stops because they're afraid they're going to hit one of the other cars.
Get to 10.
This is the proposed project. I want to bring it over here. Want to hold one in? Yes. Right in.
That's P2.
Doesn't, just, sure.
No,
What else?
no, give it
For
to,
the record.
yeah, record.
Well, can you angle it so they can all see it?
Well, they can see from there. I have smaller prints. This is what I'm doing right here. If I got something that way. This is Berkeley Road. This is the project. Sorry. I'd be here 300 and that's 90 feet. Now, there's a bottleneck. Starts at UI pole 1643. And the other part of the bottleneck over here, it's 1642. You can see where the road sweeps in. Second, I'll get, got that, Tom?
Yep, got it.
That's actually a curb. These yellow lines are actually a curb.
Do you enough for everybody to have one of these?
Yes, I got enough.
Okay.
I'll pass.
Thanks.
Well, this orange dot is here, orange dot's here. Oh, that's the critical bottleneck. Call it, I called it a restriction, but bottleneck sounds better. More critical. There's a 2-foot difference between pole 1642 and it's actually more than 2 feet, 1652, which is to the left. 1642 is almost in the middle. That's where the driveway is going to come out. Now, if you take a right turn out, then you get this restriction here. I got some pictures I'd like to show you about
I mean, a
that.
left turnout of the site.
Well, if you go right or left,
Oh, okay.
yeah. If you're coming in, there's no problem. But going out, right or left.
Are you saying the whole area from pole 1643 to 1642
Narrow
is narrowed
down.
by 1 foot or 2 feet? Because I see two areas where it narrows.
Yeah.
One by 1640.
This is the narrowest part.
Okay.
And then it goes to 9 feet here.
It is 28 feet, you're saying, right?
28 foot 11, yeah.
Okay.
This is a little less, 29. I'm not sure, a little more than 29.4 maybe. Not sure exactly the amount, but you can see it right in the road here.
Mhm.
Now, none of the legends have this particular line on it. Doesn't have a curb line. But it is the curb line.
It's like in the legend that says existing 2-foot.
Contour? Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
No, it's just, that's the wrong line. It's just straight dashes, the same amount, same size. Straight dashes here, the same size I don't see. It's proposed curve. I don't even see that on here. Possibly this. I don't know. It's kind of deceiving because you see this line back here and you think the road is wide. But that's the property lines.
I think your point is it's not 30 feet like described, is it?
No, not at all. Especially at the one pole. It's
They're not
2 foot
wide.
difference. I know.
Are these color ones going to be given to staff also?
Oh, I think they're all.
If I may, these exhibits, to the best of my knowledge, are in the original record. These are not new.
This color one with a little like ice cream cone thing down there?
That was submitted in the original record.
Okay, thank you.
One, two.
Yes.
This is a picture. Right, this is 16 Little Pole. It's right here,
42.
42. That car parked there, you can't even see the driveway. That's where this driveway is gonna be, right by the pole there, from there over. You can see it. One thing's pictures help better. A lot of very good with words and stuff. So I explain sometimes with pictures. Get a little confused sometimes. These are pictures of the proposed project with the parking lot and the building on it. And all the grass area is going to lot considerably less for absorbing the water. All going to be roof area for the building, which is going to go into the storm sewers. Storm sewers, the storm sewers go right into the wetlands. That's where the pipes go. Right in it. What I've seen the pipe in the back there, and it's time when it rains. It's this pipe inside the street storm pipes. Great.
Was this one also submitted at the original hearing?
Well, this one actually came as a proposal with the original from your office.
What do the yellow highlights depict?
That's no longer grass area
Oh,
here.
that used to be grass.
Yeah,
Okay.
there were 3 houses here in the front. There was a great deal of grass area behind them.
Okay.
One of the fellows mentioned the accident that he had on the corner of Elton Street and Berkeley Road. This was one of the reasons for the accident. The shrubs. And a lot of times, of course, this is when this parking isn't really clustered, but it does get clustered.
Is Elton north or south? Or
Pardon?
is Elton?
It goes uphill. It's going uphill. So it's Phoenix Avenue and Old Stratfield Road. Now, this is that jog. I'd like to jump back and forth, but that's the way the pictures are coming up. This is the next pole down, which is, it's not the 50.
Went uphill, 50,
Yeah, well, I went towards Alton Street.
1652. This way.
What it is, here's the driveway. 42 is the. That's not 42, that's the next one over. That's the end of their property. It would be over here somewhere.
Oh, I see. That's this jog here on the other side of the road. This
Yes,
thing here.
yeah.
Okay.
That's over 2 feet.
No,
Obvious, it's
This
not,
jog in is on the
it's,
west side of the road.
yeah, it's on my side, the even side. On,
It's across from
300.
1642. Jog is across from
Yes.
Powell 1642. Okay.
or if you want.
The same, just give them to me,
Yeah.
I'll pass them down.
Yeah. There's been less traffic lately parked on the road because several of the homes are unoccupied. One of them was being remodeled. well, two of them are being remodeled, so there's less traffic, because nobody's living in them.
I'm sorry. Can I ask another question?
Sure.
Which one was vacant? Because I went and looked at it, it looked like one of them was vacant. Directly across.
292, and the one in the back, 284, is it? 284
So that's directly across from
from.
291.
Yeah. There was one down the road, I don't remember the number, but they may have moved in by now.
Your previous person that spoke said something about there's a three-family that's not occupied yet,
It's a two-family,
two-family?
but it's got, the two-family, it's got room in the attic, I guess.
There's a two-family in the front and then there's a separate home in the back.
Yes,
So it's three.
I think it's,
Directly across.
I thought he meant 3 and 1.
Oh, no, two in the front building, then there's a building in the
One
back.
family.
For host.
Yeah. Small.
Occupy how many residents?
Who knows?
Pardon?
At least 8 to 10.
What was the question?
How many residents?
Will be in that houses.
Oh, I don't know yet.
Yeah.
Not rented. Well, the lady in the back corner is gonna
Two in the front.
live in the small house in the back.
Per house.
It's 2 plus 1 families.
As far as the rental.
Be at least 8 to
I
10.
don't
Yes.
know.
How many people will be there? Yeah.
No, I was just wondering how many people will come, but we don't really know how many people are gonna rent. That'd be so
many
probably
bedrooms?
two families.
Apartments
That's two families, yeah.
Total? 8 to 10.
8 to 10. So at least 3.
Maybe with kids.
Four.
That's all Linda Chan. She bought the property a couple of years ago now. Two contractors had purchased it. They tried to do some work with it. And they gave up. There's just too much to be done. And she purchased the property and she hasn't given up yet. Yeah, now they're sheet rocking on the one in the back, so she's getting ready to move in. So I don't think she's gonna give up now.
You're still talking about 292 and 284, that building?
Yes, that property there.
Oh, you don't have all the costs. There's nothing to sit there.
Another picture.
Yes.
There's the side of the street, the project side. That's the driveway. There's two driveways that come out. That's the driveway closest to the pole.
And that's poll number 1642 again.
Yeah. That's, coming out of here is much more difficult to look at it.
Yeah, I could pass it down.
Those all the same picture?
Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody hid my other pictures. I don't know where they are. I think that's all like, oh no.
Sarah, again, did you give a hot mic advisories that we were talking?
I did, yes.
Just as a heads up, it's fine. I mean, nobody's really been disruptive, but everybody can, there's microphones all over. So they can pick you up if you're whispering to a neighbor, and
That's just.
it's not really a problem, but just as a heads up.
Thanks.
Where the bottleneck is.
And that's again, utility pole 1642,
42.
which is directly in front of,
Yeah, you can tell by the sign. That's where the sign is on 16.
Just give it to her and pass it down.
Oh,
Thank you.
okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
Sorry, I don't have the pictures of that hill. That would explain it. The caution. I don't use that hill.
Yeah, there are pictures of that in the original record with the sign that's,
Yeah.
that was all part of the original.
But I had a few, that were better quality. Especially with the new sign. Oh, okay. You don't need it. Thank you.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
It's testimony from someone, probably the applicant, that that hill and the need for a warning sign was too far away to have this impact that hazard situation? I think I saw.
It is just before you go up on the going up side. Now, the going down side, it may be restricted by a tree now. I'm not sure. I haven't come down it in a while.
I live literally on top of the hill at 148. And coming from Berkeley towards Tungus Hill, it just says hidden driveway, which is mine, which is a tree. And as the gentleman stated, heading towards Melville, now there's a sign that says caution. Now that hill is 400 yards down from that project. So it's not literally like the project is being built at the base of the hill. The problem is the increased traffic on that hill, which is when I got into my accident, I was heading home. I was coming up the hill towards Melville. A car was coming towards Tungus Hill at a higher rate of speed than they should have been. It crested the hill. I was literally as far right as I could because both sides of the street had cars on them. So there was nowhere to go. I went to the right as much as I could. They came over the crest of the hill, hit me, ricocheted off me. Thank God my daughters, I had dropped them off to ballet. It was just me. Ricocheted off me and hit one of the parked cars. So it's literally a single lane choke point. And if someone is coming over the top of that hill, there's nowhere to go. You can't avoid it because there's cars generally all the time parked, which turns that into a single lane. And unfortunately, I have no choice but to use that hill, given I live on it. So that is the concern, is any incremental increase in cars, which obviously there will be, just exponentially makes it more dangerous.
We spoke earlier.
Mr. Braun, if I can, the distance,
Hold on, sorry. I already spoke earlier, just because we didn't get you on the video. What was your name again?
Patrick Stevener, 148 Berkeley.
You speak earlier, right?
I did.
distance of that hill from the road site is irrelevant because of it's the traffic volume increase going over that hill, which is the issue. Distance is, that's not a valid argument. Applicant.
I know you spoke as well, but again, you're not on the
Blind-
Patrol.
it's a blind
Say it
spot.
again.
John Petrola.
Thank you.
It's definitely the blind spot too. I mean, it's, my mother had an accident, not at that blind spot, the end of Berkeley Road. Years ago, students from Ward coming down the hill and going too fast. They felt maybe 45 or 50. And she was with her boyfriend, who was a baseball player.
It's true.
And I guess between Marlboro and Berkeley, there's some kind of a hidden spot in the road that you can't see. And she saw it going down Melville. Too late, because she was doing 45. By the time she hit the brakes, she hit my mother. Unfortunately, it hit her in the back door of the car, not the front door. She's shaking up and everything. Thank God. But I was never familiar with this hill. Like, I moved, when I married my wife, she lived on Berkeley Road. And, I hesitate to use it. With the fellow that suggested you put your headlights on in the evening, that makes a lot of sense. Just during the daytime, going down it to me is more scary than going up it for some reason. But especially with cars parked on both sides. It's just that blind spot. That's what it is, a blind spot. And I can't show it to you in a picture if I had the pictures, the steepness. But there's a rise, then you come up on the top, and then it starts to go down. And when it goes down, it doesn't level out right. It goes down not quite a bit, but it goes down in a few houses before it levels out. And with these lower, even with the trucks, you cannot see someone until he's right at the crest, you know, at the top of it there. There's going down it. I get up to the crest and you can go down, and then you can see the whole hill. I mean, going down. It's like a flat spot at the top. Actually, that's what it is. It doesn't come right down. It's a flat spot. And that flat spot, once you're a little bit back from it, you can't see anything. I don't use it. I'm still there. All right, thank you for putting up with me. Well,
What next?
Is it Karen? It's supposed to be.
I saw some people online, but in person gets priority, so. Next.
what's left of the money?
My name is Joe Gallagher. I live at 50 Berkeley Road. Chairman Noonan, Mr. Levy, Mr. Randolph, and Mr. Corsillo, in the hearing on March 26, 2024, stated the town attorney, Jim Baldwin, told them there was nothing in the record that could be used to defend this appeal and that the town would lose the case. Here are some statements by Chairman Noonan, Mr. Levy, Mr. Randolph, and Mr. Corsillo from the March 26 hearing. There is no evidence in the record that could be used to defend this appeal. We were compelled by the law to rescind. The information that was in the record was provided by non-expert witnesses. Jim Baldwin stated this lawsuit was unwinnable. There was no evidence in the record to suggest this project was unsafe. Unless there was a safety issue, we cannot deny. This development is dangerous, but the evidence in the record failed to demonstrate a safety concern. There is no evidence that would support the town's burden of establishing a threat to public safety. And according to, again, Attorney Baldwin, we are likely to lose this case. The evidence does not support any one of these statements. Here are 10 facts in the record, plus the town attorney's actual statements from his brief filed on March 6, 18th, that contradict the commission's members' statements. 1, the commission's findings of fact and reason for its decision to deny this appeal are supported by sufficient evidence in the record. The applications were denied to protect substantial public interest in health and safety against a quantifiable probability of specific harm. The need to protect such public interest outweighs the need for affordable housing. Reasonable changes to the proposed development could not protect the public interests. The record was substantial evidence that there needs to be an adequate sightline. The traffic report was conducted during COVID-19 pandemic and must reflect accurate traffic flows. The applicant's consultant should have considered parked cars in the sightline. The consultant did not provide a factual base for omitting the current parking situation. The decision to appeal are supported by sufficient evidence in the record. The record establishes that there's more than a theoretical possibility of specific harm to the public. If you question the credibility of any of these statements, please read the brief filed by your own attorney, Mr. Baldwin. His words, these are his words, these are his suggestions, his statement of fact. His admonition to you contained in the first statement of his brief: deny this appeal. The compelling arguments to deny this are apparent. Your engineer stated that the line of sight study was inadequate. The logic is irrefutable. You simply need cars on the street to assess the safety of the line of sight. Expert witnesses testified that the traffic study conducted during COVID was incorrect. Again, it is simply common sense that the traffic study conducted during the pandemic is unreliable. Let's look at the commission's angst over an onslaught of predatory builders. The definition of predatory behavior involves deceit, aggression, or manipulation to take advantage of vulnerable individuals or situations. Mr. Corsillo wants to vote to rescind the town's so it can scare away, it rescinds so the town can scare away these predatory builders. I'm not sure you can recognize what a predatory builder sounds like, commissioners, but the developer banging at your door as a predatory builder. If you decide to rescind, the precise message you will send to all other predators that even if they lose to the commission, just sue the town, offer less than 30% affordable in a settlement, and then the TPC Commission of Fairfield will reject your settlement offer and approve your original proposal. With all these contradictions and denial of fact that we are witness to, please recognize that the public is currently seeing this commission as manipulating the facts to take advantage of vulnerable individuals and situations. That's us. Again, the evidence is clear. The town knowingly accepted false information into the record. The commission understood this fact in June 23, and rather than correct the record, it chose not to conduct another traffic or line of sight study. The town knowingly accepted a line of sight and traffic study they all knew was wrong. The town commission is now voting to approve this project despite the fact that the safety studies, both traffic and a line of sight, are flawed and completely unreliable. You still might think your reasons to rescind are valid. Understand, these are simply opinions that can only be held to be legitimate and accurate through adjudication. We, the public, the commission members that voted to deny this project, the record, and your attorney all should have given you pause in your strict adherence to the belief that your opinions are the correct ones. Please consider one factor in your decision: common sense. The common sense principle is admissible and recognized by a judge, especially when a sense is held in common among a cross-section of people. Please look at people who are attending tonight. This is what you're hearing today from everyone in this room. Virtually everyone I speak to, without exception, is stunned to hear that this commission is relying upon a traffic study that was conducted during COVID and a line of sight study conducted with no cars on the street. Finally, we spoke with the first selectman, Bill Gerber, a few times over the last week, and this is a summary of his comments. The commission is a few months away from a decision by the judge, so I don't know why they feel they have to rescind it. Regardless of what is right or wrong, even if they don't feel there's a good chance to win, why would they vote to rescind it? Why not to let the courts decide? We are already there. We already spent the money. Why vote to rescind it before the court has a chance to decide? It makes no sense to me the commission would not let it continue to the end. Regardless of how some people feel about the evidence, I don't understand. We have already spent $10,000 to $15,000 on legal fees. We've done the brief, and the brief has been filed. So at this point, just let it go. That's the way I feel.
Joanne?
Hi, good evening. Thank you for your service. My name is Patrice Klein. I currently reside at 73 Alden Street, so this is not in my backyard. I'm here to thank you for your service, and I'm here to commend the people of Berkeley neighborhood for looking seriously into the deficits of continued overdevelopment that's come to our town through the 830G. I serve on the board of the affordable housing for Sullivan McKinney affordable housing. So this interests me. So I want to come, as I had more and more time, to all of these hearings to see that the board is making wise decisions regarding the overdevelopment of Fairfield, especially on the skirttails of the 830G enactment 1989. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a poll. Is there other people that want to speak? It's not your only chance, but I just want to get a sense. Thank you.
Tim Kraseski, 315 Berkeley Road. I just want to say, I'm already in litigation with conservation. I just want to let you know, I spoke with other counsel that's ready to go and appeal the zoning if it gets passed. If it does, I just hope everyone does their diligence and does the right thing to take everybody's facts and statements into consideration. If not, I'm not letting go. There's really nothing else for me to talk about. It seems like nobody wants to listen to the facts and do the right thing, but we'll see how it goes. That's all. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Ma'am?
I haven't been called ma'am in a while, but thank you. My name is Karen McCormick. I live at 305 Winnapock Drive in Fairfield. I do not live in the Berkeley Road neighborhood. But I felt compelled to come out here not only on March 26th, but tonight to speak to the commission and to voice my concerns about a couple of things. Lifelong Fairfield resident, born and raised here, schools, the whole 9 yards, went to Fairfield U, settled here. And I live over in the Lake Hills neighborhood, but I am gravely concerned about the overdevelopment of our neighborhoods, particularly the working class neighborhoods of our town. It seems to me like the folks with the least ability to kind of mount a defense to these types of developments are those that seem to be of lesser means than other neighborhoods. If this project was going in another area of the town, perhaps with more affluent neighbors, my guess is they'd be lawyered up to the max. They would have had all their traffic studies done. They would have contested everything before this commission. It does concern me a little bit that we have a fair number of neighbors coming forward tonight with what I would believe a misconception about what the commission can consider. And I think it's a little bit of an injustice to them to not explain to them that the commission is not here to seek new evidence. There's no opportunity here to present new evidence about concerns about this project. And that's unfortunate because when the commission closed the evidence last June, in June of 2023, and made its decision, that was what the commission is sort of strapped with. And the record that is in evidence in terms of this commission and before the court is basically locked down, and no additional evidence can be considered by the commission. We all know that 830G is a discriminatory law at this point. It discriminates against those who are of lesser means. I'm very concerned, and I'm going to just make this statement, and for whatever it's worth, that I don't see any of our state delegation here tonight. I don't see Representatives Leeper, Kitt, McCarthy-Vahue, or Senator Tony Wong here to speak on behalf of these neighbors in connection with what this law does to our neighborhoods. And that's a disgrace because, in my opinion, they scramble away when there's an issue that hits home and that they have to speak to and speak up against. And it doesn't fit the narrative of what they're fighting for in Hartford, but it's really, really upsetting because those decisions in Hartford by these representatives and our senator are directly impacting your lives, your safety, your health, and your ability to enjoy your properties. My understanding is, based upon my reading of the record and having been here on March 26th, is that this is a motion to rescind the decision in part to consider perhaps settling for a lesser sized building. And I didn't hear any of that discussed this evening, but I would like to put forth the opportunity or remind everybody here that there is a chance that the commission can consider rescinding and basically building a different building there. My understanding is, and I don't have all the details, is that it would be cutting off one floor of the building, reducing the number of units, but by also reducing the number of affordable units. And I think there was discussion on March 26th that particularly I remember Mr. Noonan, the chairman, commenting on, if we do that, then somehow the town of Fairfield's going to have a target on their back, and all they have to do is developers will have to do is propose a large building, and then the town will settle for less. I think that this neighborhood is screaming for some kind of relief here. The building that's proposed, as proposed by the developer, cannot go up. I mean, it's absolutely a disgrace that this town would actually consider rescinding a legitimate decision of a prior commission with people that are no longer sitting on this commission to speak to that. And to me, it's like another bite at the apple for this commission to do so. In the absence of direct legal advice from the town attorney, which I did not hear at the last meeting. In fact, Attorney Baldwin said, these things can go either way. So I don't understand why the commission is considering at all approving the original development as proposed. If anything, it should be a scaled back version. And, you know, while I hear the neighbors speaking to their concerns about, you know, the safety and that this building can't go up at all, I have some concerns about the ability of the town to combat that as well, because we all know how heavy the burden is to overcome an 830G cases. So my position in this case as a non-resident of the neighborhood, and I acknowledge that I don't live there, would be that if anything, if this commission considers anything other than outright denial and proceeding with the litigation, that you give strong consideration to approving a building that's smaller in size and scale. And as pointed out by, I believe you, sir, last time, I'm not 100% sure, without building plans that show how that's all going to impact the neighborhood, that really can't be approved by this commission either, but at least it should be put up for consideration, and that the developer should be required to submit new plans that show a scaled back version exactly how that property is going to be impacted by that new development and the revised development plan. So thank you for your time, and I appreciate all the hard work. I know how much time you all put in on researching and reviewing, and quite frankly, having the patience to listen to all. So thank you very much.
Thank you. One further in person? Last opportunity, but I want, well,
Hi, my name is Diane Stopford. I'm resident of 340 Melville Avenue, which is perpendicular to Berkeley. I'm just here tonight to support my neighbors, but just to put for the record that myself, my husband, and my two next door neighbors on either side of me on Melville Avenue, we choose not to drive along Berkeley for the simple reason that it's just too dangerous. If we need to drive, you know, from Tunxus Hill over to Melville, we choose to go on Marlborough, or we choose to go on Old Stratfield, or we choose to go on Villa. Why? Not that we don't like the street, but it's just too dangerous because of that hill. You know, during the pandemic, I laughed that the study was done there because I think it was the one time that maybe we could walk down there with, I have a preschooler and a first grader. But also the local goose could walk along that street, the pet goose, because there was no traffic. But, you know, when I heard this was going on, to say of all streets, Berkeley, you're going to put in a development right there on literally the most dangerous street that I know in our neighborhood is just absolutely ridiculous. My daughters have the school bus stop is right at Berkeley and Melville, and already I'm scared putting them on the bus in the morning and taking them off because of the speed of the cars that go up and down Melville, that the cars don't look turning onto Berkeley or just swing around Berkeley onto Melville. It's just extremely unsafe. A couple of months ago, I mean, within the last 12 months, we had a car almost land in our next door neighbor's front yard from there being a crash right at Berkeley and Melville. These are young kids who are going up and down the street, up to Ward, up to other parts of the town. And it's just incredibly unsafe area. And it's just really, really, you know, concerning that something like this, of this magnitude, could be approved in this exact location in this neighborhood. So that's just what I wanted to say. Thank you.
thank you. Any other member of the public in person? Sir?
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Ma'am, I have another person in person, so Ms. Gallo, you'll be up when I get to remote participants.
Hi, my name is Paula Gallo. I live on Beacon View, and I fought real hard to not have a building here at 21 to 20 to 19, well, to 17, 15, 17, denied, and we won. But what was really important is the police did a traffic study. And I'm really confused why that has not been done, or has it been done? I'm just coming in because I was asked to be on the meeting, and I don't know a lot about it, but uh, it's really important that the police department is involved in this, and they're doing their own traffic study for a week. And especially during the times of high volume. It's very, very important because these issues of these predatory builders coming in to these little neighborhoods like mine, they really need to be held accountable. The police department has to be involved. And they should be involved in every single one. And I'm a little confused if that's not happened, or are they just, I mean, where are they on this? I haven't been able to read everything, but I really appreciate your time, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Sir, you're up. Thank you.
My name is Milton Calaminatis. I live at 329 Berkeley Road, and I'm just here to reiterate the same points I said last summer about this project. I live two doors down from it. First, I'm going to start with the traffic study was one main thing, but there's no sidewalks on our streets. I just came down my street right now after 5 o'clock, and it's a one-way street, and going down that very dangerous hill. If it's not night, you don't see lights, you can't see who's coming up and down that hill. But the life and safety concerns I have is for my 2 young kids. Again, I'm going to point it out. I had pictures last summer. I did submit them. I didn't see them on the studies, but when we were riding our bikes in the middle of the street, when cars were coming, we had to duck behind a parked car so we don't get hit. Okay, when there's going to be an abundance of cars on this street, which if you guys drive down there after 5 o'clock, you'll see there's almost no parking in certain areas. So the excess cars from this project, where are they going to park? Where are we going to walk, and how are we going to take cover on cars when they're coming down that street? Because right now, when there's a car coming, I'm either going left or right, like I'm parking, to let these cars go by. You got to take into consideration the kids, the people who are walking. The lady said it's dangerous for them to walk. The study was done again in COVID year. It wasn't. I don't think we said why isn't the town we pay to do one now when there's plenty of cars driving up and down that street at above 25 miles per hour. And I also take a right on Marlboro when I'm coming down Tuxedo to get to my house on Berkeley because I avoid that downhill. Okay, my 2 kids, my dog, my life. If something happens, if you guys approve this project today and it gets built in 3 to 4 years and something happens, a serious injury, can I come back here and held the town liable? Because you guys might not be here anymore in 5 years. You guys will be like, oh, we rubber stamped it, we approved it. It's not our problem anymore. But the people who live on that street and have to bear the consequences of something happening, that should be on your heads, not on ours. That's all I have to say about this matter. Thank you.
Yeah, right. Any other member of the public in person? We have people signed up besides Ms. Gallo. Is there anybody who's joining us remotely or by phone that wishes to be heard? If you're joining by phone, please press *6. There we go. Pam? That's the name. It pumped up quickly.
I think it's Ross Kinney.
Ross Kinney, are you there?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Can hear you, yes. Kenny.
Okay. I live at 246 Berkeley Road. And like everybody else, my concern is about the speed on this road. They treat it like it's 95. I mean, I have to walk my dog every morning. And every time I do, I take my dog and my life in my hands. I don't know how many times I almost got hit by cars going up and down that road. And I don't think there's one speed limit sign on that road. In all the years I've lived on here, I've never seen a speed limit sign. Having an additional 40 to 50 more cars on this road, it's insane. Like other people have said, the parking here is horrendous. Across the street from me, there's a house that has there's 3 apartments, 6 vehicles. And I ask you guys, take a walk sometime at night take a walk down that road and see how safe you feel. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then I think we have Meg Francis.
All right.
Hi, Meg. How are you?
Hello, thank you. Okay, can you hear me okay?
No.
Whatever.
I'll do that.
Is that-
We can
Is that
hear you.
yes?
Go ahead. It is, yes, go ahead.
You're bad. Where's the video? Okay. All right. The article in the paper the other day said something about this is a NIMBY. Well, I don't think it is a NIMBY. This site is surrounded by grocery stores, gas stations, and other commercial sites. I think it's right in these people's front yard. I don't think it's in anybody's backyard. Then I would like to read one statement from June 23 by a commissioner. I've been to the site, and my impression is if I lived in this neighborhood, I'd be very upset if this development were to be approved. It's totally out of scale with the neighborhood. It replaces existing affordable housing, which is naturally occurring. Anybody driving through here observes that the road is very narrow when there are cars parked on both sides. I was there on a weekday afternoon and there wasn't a single parking space available on Berkeley Road. To my mind, we're left with that there are evidence in terms of the parking in this area and the impact that another 40 units would have on this neighborhood. I think even though it's roughly 1.28 spaces per unit that's available between the 19 underneath the building and the outside parking, I just don't see it's sufficient because from my observation of the area, from all the testimony from the neighbors, there isn't another 20, 25, 30 spaces available for cars trying to park in this area like in a TOD. This is just going to pose a serious problem which could present a safety issue with this road being so narrow and cars being parked everywhere or increasing that density. So while I don't think there's enough evidence to deny it outright, I think that a reasonable accommodation could be made, which would be to reduce it by one floor, to reduce it by 10 units, and that would then allow the proposed parking to be sufficient to not impose a threat to the safety, health, and welfare of the neighbors. So I would oppose outright denial, but I would recommend the reasonable accommodation by reducing it to 3 floors rather than 4 over the parking and reducing it to 30 units. And that's by Commissioner Steve Levy. So I hope that he still feels that way. And I would ask my fellow commissioners, if you are so strongly feel that you're going to lose this case, you have exactly the compromise you want. So I would accept it, or I might do nothing and let the court decision take its course. But to rescind it serves no purpose, I don't think, and makes us look kind of foolish, but whatever. Thank you.
Thank you, Meg. Any other member? Person in person. If there's any member of the public that wishes to speak that's still joining us remotely, if you can sign in the chat, please.
I don't know, a lot about the law or this and that. But what I do know is that we had one new home built on Berkeley. One new home, a nice sized house. And we had problems parking ever since that one new house came in there. And the children are growing up and they're driving. So we have a couple of young girls with cars and we have one new house. And it's a zoo, just on my end of the street, which is 75, which is away from where this housing is going to be. But of course, what's going to happen if the big housing comes, those people are going to be parking up our end and walking down the street to go home. So that's going to make it even more congested than what it already is. And I didn't even think that one house would cause more congestion or confusion, but it did. So if you take one house that maybe added 2 cars and that caused us congestion, what's going to happen with this great big building? You know, it's like unbelievable. From when my children were little, they were afraid of the hill. I taught them to be afraid of the hill. I used to tell them all the time, turn your bike before you get to the crest of the hill and don't ever go over the hill. And my daughters are grown up and they're 40 years old. And if you brought them in here right now, they'd say, stay away from the hill, because that's what they heard from me always. Because I was always afraid that something horrible would happen if they went up over the hill. So, you know, this is just the mom talking here, but I just think that the congestion would be really, really awful. And our street is also subject to water, you know. Some of the basements get water and this and that. And I wonder what's going to happen when they start doing all that big construction. Are they going to, you know, drag up more water from underground? It's going to be more of a mess. I don't know what else to say, but I just wanted to let you know that's my theory about it is, you know, the parking, the children. I mean, all those people are going to move in that house. They're going to have children. They're going to come to age. They're going to start driving. So now you went from 40 cars to maybe 80 cars. You know, it's just, it's crazy. But anyway, that's all. Thank you.
Your name for the record, I think.
Yeah, it's Ellen Capozzi. Mhm.
Any other member of the public wish to be heard
Over
in
here.
person or remotely? Pull up. Anybody else sign up and chat, Ms. Harrigan? Thank you.
Hi, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Ruth Smay, and I live at 219 Old Stratfield Road. And I've lived there for over 40 years. Anyway, what I have to say is that everything I've heard here tonight by these people is absolutely the truth. The congestion is horrible on that street and all the other streets. The density of in that our whole neighborhood, it's totally filled. I don't even know how they could have even proposed this. Right on the corner, which was part of the original purchase of this property, on the Greenfield Street side, their Habitat for Humanity is building 4 duplexes, both 2 bedrooms, and that will be 8 units. So that'll be more traffic. I don't know how much more that area of Tungus Hill could absorb. And as far as the safety issue goes, if a fire truck needs to come down that street, it's not getting through. What are you going to do? Let the house burn? Because that's what's going to have to happen before they could get the people to clear one side of the street so the truck could come through. You know, I have been on other projects where we have discussed the safety issue for 830G, and the fire chief graciously helped us with the assessment of it not being able to get the truck down the road. And I think that, you know, these neighbors should ask the fire chief to do the same thing that we did in other areas that needed that sort of assessment. And I'm losing my voice because of hay fever. But anyway, I just really think this is a terrible project, and I think that it should be rejected. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. By join by remote, by chat. Any member of the public wish to be heard? Person or remotely or by phone? Please press *6 to unmute yourself if you're joining by phone.
Listen to my allergy voice. Seems incredible.
Another member of the public wish to be heard? Thank you. I'll close the public comment portion of this. When we do like a rebuttal, but obviously this is us, so like I said last time, we'll go to the next hearing for discussion. Unless there's any issues with that. Hearing none. So well. Sorry. Yeah, so I'll close the hearing on this matter. We'll discuss and vote at the next hearing. Thank you, everybody, for your comments and coming out twice.
Good opportunity.
Why don't we take a few minutes, let people leave unless they want to stay for the next items?
I don't know.
January 9th.
Did I give you the wrong insurance? Or I have.
No, that's okay. I thought. Is Commissioner Ford here? Okay, wasn't sure one way or the other. All right, next item is zoning compliance, 1953 Black Rock Turnpike, 1901-2009 Black Rock Turnpike. Application of Truvance Go Health Urgent Care LLC to establish a medical office in a portion of an existing building in the design commercial district.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, this is ShopRite Plaza, Turnpike Shopping Center. There's a tenant space that was occupied formerly by Supercuts. This is a change in use from one permitted use to another. They're looking to seek a medical urgent care facility. This tenant space, the parking for the retail use is the same as that for medical. This is a permitted use in the district, so the change in use does not trigger any requirement for additional parking. That's all I have subject to any questions.
Thank you. May I have a motion on the item, please? We still have Commissioner Collins and Bukowski sitting.
Approve.
Commissioner Levy moves to approve. Second, Commissioner Braun. Commissioner Levy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a permitted use. I can't think of any negatives other than the fact there are already several in the neighborhood, but this is True Vance, which goes by New Vance, which is Norwalk and Danbury Hospital. So I guess each of the majors wants to have a presence, and it may serve their various members who are members of the New Vance group. So based on that, I think we should approve it.
I have nothing further to add to what Commissioner Levy pointed out.
Mr. Harrison.
Just a quick question, and I think I know the answer, but just, can you just confirm that the footprint, the size of it is not changing?
No, there's no exterior alterations. I want to say it's.
You could put in the ShopRite Plaza, right?
Right. It's about 2,500 square feet.
Open that one.
Opened or?
No, it's okay.
I'm sorry, what?
I have it if you want me to show it.
Thank you, sir.
I have it, the card cap. Excuse me.
Commissioner Collins, is there
I
any
can open it,
question?
actually.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's just, I'm sorry, I just didn't know if you had a question. Let's finish up this quickly and then you're next.
I'm just curious, how many physicians will be in that? I know there's like, my thing is that there's always hazardous material boxes and the Quest blood boxes, and then there's always the trucks that you have the whole day pick up either the hazardous hazardous materials or the Quest blood product. So how many spaces, like, is there a place behind where the truck could, like a service?
I don't know if that's going to be within their space or they come in and pick it up, or whether it's going to, I don't know the answer to that. That's really more regulated by the health department. I don't know how many physicians will be there at any one time, but they show 4 exam rooms on their floor.
Standard, whatever they usually have.
Yeah.
1 or 2.
Commissioner Bukowski.
I just have a follow-up question to that, and I don't know if this is within our purview or not, but do we know if they would reserve parking spots within the lot for themselves, or does that? 'Cause that lot is a nightmare.
That's really more of a tenant landlord situation. We don't typically condone that because the parking is collective to the whole space. You will see, I know, sometimes you see for the smaller tenants, like a dry cleaner, you might see a sign that says, 15-minute parking.
15-minute, right.
So cleaners type of thing. That's really between the tenants and the landlords.
Okay.
2,500 square feet is roughly the size, Mr. Chair, to answer the previous question.
Thank you.
I got one more question. Will they require eliminating a regular spot for a handicap spot? Because most urgent care places have like an.
No, the handicap spaces requirement is in the building code, and that's based on the total number of spaces that are in the parking lot, not on a tenant by tenant basis. For a lot of this size, you typically need 1 for every 25 parking spaces.
Even with a.
So there's no, the fact that there's a medical tenant doesn't trigger a increased number of handicap spaces.
That's all I want. Thank you.
Some comments or questions? Yep, so a vote, all those in favor, please say aye or raise your hand. See 7 hands, so it passes unanimously. 1552 Post Road, application of Martin Rogers for an amended sign plan in the Center Design District.
Mr. Chairman, this is a existing retail building on the corner of the Post Road in Miller Street. If you're to kind of ballpark where that is, to give you a landmark, it's the building that has the Tom Sawyer bench in front of it. If the previous tenants had awning signs, They are going to intend to put some awnings on the building that don't have signage. Oh, there's the building up there. Thank you, Evelyn. They are proposing actually a projecting sign, flag signs, very similar to the flags or the signs that hang from the light poles downtown that the town puts up. The zoning regulations permit a 15-inch projection from the face of the building, so that's what they are proposing. It's a 15-inch by 52-inch canvas. They're calling it a flag, but the same type of things that hang from the light poles. It has enough clearance underneath, so it's not an issue for pedestrians. So that is what they are proposing. It's before you because it's a bit of a change from the previous tenancy, but in our opinion, we believe it complies with the regulations. There are 2 double-faced signs, one on each of the corner walls. So that's the kind of the rendering view up on the screen there.
We have a motion on the item. Priscilla,
Move to approve.
Commissioner Bukowski seconds, Commissioner Priscilla.
Mr. Wentz said it seems to be in compliance. I think the sign's harmonious with the surrounding design. That was it. Comments.
Commissioner Bukowski.
Further comments? Commissioner Priscilla.
Further from commission, question, comments?
I was gonna say it's very attractive and it's great on that corner.
Let's do a vote. All those in favor, please say aye or raise your hand. See 7 hands, so it passes unanimously. Move on to public hearing, 86 French Street, special exception application of Robert Daly on behalf of Paige Redinger pertaining to a rooftop deck in the Beach District.
Hi, everybody. My name is Rob Daly. I'm with Midland Contracting, 140 Midland Street in Black Rock. I am presenting for my 2 clients. Just a quick backstory. The reason why this came about, in the original plans, there was 2 AC condensers on their 2nd floor deck. We were trying to figure out a way to get the condensers off the deck so they wouldn't hear it. Went up to the roof and realized that the neighbor directly in front and a neighbor in back at 126 Pine Creek is the neighbor in front. 105 French Street is the neighbor in back, had rooftop decks. The way the house is constructed, see in these plans, but it has what's called the Pacific Northwest gable, where you have a 6 pitch on one side and a flat roof on the other side, so it can accommodate a 2.5 story on the 3rd floor, having some usable space. We got up there, realized that, with a rooftop deck, it would add a nice space for my clients to go and see that it's the only view of the water that they'll have at that vantage point. We went around to all the neighbors, not only the ones that their properties are abutting ours, but we went to, I would say, 20 to 30 on the streets. Both streets had them sign a petition, which I will send in to the board. We actually worked with 2 of the abutting neighbors with the design of it. If you see, there's plantings on the back side. They're just potted plants, and we just have that in there. Bill Levy, our architect, put them in just for screening if they wanted it. We basically designed it with them. So we have all their approval. I don't think anybody's going to propose it today. And that's basically it. And the other thing is we went down and looked on Pine Creek Ave, 244, 318, 404 seem to have rooftop decks as well. So there's other ones in the neighborhood on the water that have them. Ours would probably be a little bit smaller than the one at 105 French Street, which is in the rear of us. 126 would basically be about the same size, 18 by 12.
The rendering?
No, those are pictures of that would be 126. Okay. That is the house in front of us. That's on Pine Creek Ave. And there's another picture that should be of the one in the rear, which is 105 French Street.
Do you have to submit this to engineering?
Engineering, you don't go through building, we have to submit to building.
Okay, but you didn't go through engineering for.
We already had to have a number of cul-de-sacs. We had to have 12 detention chambers anyways for the roof, and we haven't expanded the roof line at all with this. So no, and actually we're not raising the building height because of the slope. We are 2 feet past the ridge. So our highest point of the house will stay at 34 feet where they got a variance. A previous owner they got the variance. We will be we'll be about 6 inches lower than that with the start of our deck on the ridge.
Mr. Went, you said,
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, I have a question. Did I understand you correctly, Mr. Daly? You said the AC condensers were originally designed to be on the second floor deck, and now they're going to be moved?
No, we're now the trade-off was with the neighbor, we'll keep on the second floor deck.
Okay.
They stay there.
Okay.
Because they wanted originally to put the AC condensers up because the master bedroom is situated as such where the AC condenser zone was outside. Obviously with the noise, they wanted.
They're going to stay where they shown on.
They're staying where they
They're not moving up. They're not moving up.
I'm just giving you a background story how we came about, like even figuring out how a rooftop deck would make sense. And it's because we got to the roof and we're like, oh, that's.
I apologize for the.
No, I'm sorry. I should have explained that better.
no, that's fine. That's why we do this. We didn't have to submit to engineering, you go through building.
Yeah, we are, like I said, our in-ground retention needs, we're not expanding anything, so the retention is the retention. Building has to approve the railings and whatnot and the means of egress and.
Not adding residents to its single family owned by the same people.
Yep, same people. It's a couple out of New York. They're moving up.
Other people in the area have this. It's not a surprise.
Exactly. Yep. And we went when we actually did the homeowners, Paige and Peter, who I'm building the house for. That's the other house. That's the house behind us on French Street, which has the rooftop deck. It's behind the gable. The whole roof is a deck. They went around and had like a petition and had the neighbors all sign it, which, like I said, we'll submit.
Is it in the record?
I don't think I emailed it. I will email it tonight. I had to get it from the owners and they had to scan it, but I will submit it.
Okay, yes, that needs to be in.
Yep.
Subject to that, well, we'll worry about that in a second. Not gonna affect the neighbor's property values, because they already have it, it's normal.
Anything that would help. I mean, the houses are not, yeah.
What else is criteria for special exception? That's about it.
I feel like the room really cleared when I got up here, so.
No, think they were all for you?
Yeah, they thought they weren't gonna hear me talk. They're really excited about this deck and then just everybody abandoned us.
Don't take it personally.
Yeah, I would take it.
Really, you were. Further questions? Further questions?
It's really pretty. Looks great.
I think your clients will be happier with that than investors on the third floor, or the roof, excuse me.
Yes, I think it'll be a value add, absolutely.
Nothing further to add? I'll get to the petition in a second. I'll close the initial initial portion of this application, the applicant's initial presentation, open it up to public comments. There is nobody in the room. I'll ask anyways, is there any member of the public that wishes to be heard in this application? It's joining us either in person or remotely, phone. If you're joining us by phone, please press *6 to unmute yourself. Any member of the public wish to be heard? Close the public comment portion. I assume you've got nothing further. All right, so I will close the hearing subject to you submitting the petition to complete the record. If for some reason somebody objects to the petition because it's not in, we'll deal with that with just reopening the hearing just for that petition aspect of it. But I suspect that's not going to be the case, but I'll put that on the record anyways. All set, I think.
Just one quick question. Sorry, Mr. Daly, did you say every neighbor did sign the petition?
No, just the abutting neighbors.
Just the abutting neighbors. Okay, that's all you have to do. Thank you.
Actually, I don't even think it was required. We just did it because they wanted to.
That's fine.
They wanted to just have everybody happy with
Has anybody objected? Any neighbor objected to you, to your clients?
No, everyone
That's been
been quite pleasant, actually.
I'll close. Anything further?
Nope.
Further, commission? I'll close the hearing on this matter. That being our last item, we'll adjourn the hearing.
Thank you guys. Have a great night.
Then we're doing that PhD meeting at the end of the month.